Hello, welcome to Soccer Yanks, where we are here to bring you the beautiful game from the American perspective. I'm your host, Dave.
And I am your other host, Dan. Wow. A little bit of a break. It was good. I needed a break.
It's been so long.
No, continue. No,
that's all I got.
It's been a little bit of a break. I needed that break because I've been running full steam. So the international break came at a good time for me in a podcasting sense, but not really on a footballing sense because I don't feel satisfied.
Just can't get enough.
I watched a little bit of not a little bit. I watched a lot of Major League Soccer to keep me satisfied. I watched the U.S. men's national team, but those are friendlies. I honestly, because of the timing, I didn't really watch any European qualifiers. I saw some highlights. I read some headlines. Sterling saying, "I'm a little tired," and Hodgson going to the media and going, "He said he was tired."
Throw him under the bus instead of parking it.
That's the worst thing a manager I think could do to a player. He's not playing because he told me he's tired.
Selling him out.
Like, that's ridiculous. Like, leave the kid alone. Obviously, he's in the middle of a campaign, a domestic campaign, and listen, none of these guys really care about playing for England.
Playing San Marino.
I know.
Why you gotta stir the pot? Why? What's you gonna have the tabloids chirping all over him, getting into his head? He's 19, 20 years old. He doesn't need that. But he's a manager. He should know better.
It's Roy. It's Roy.
That hatchet-faced piece of No, I'm just kidding.
So, in the Premier League, we didn't really talk about last week's results. Not too much. We'll get into them a little bit, shall we?
Yeah.
So, now, it may feel a little stale, but I'm gonna stir that pot up and bring up some old feelings.
Yeah, the table got shooken up a little bit. United are in the top 4. October, no big deal. Then some said it was never going to happen.
I'm going to remind you who they played first before you get too excited.
Remind everybody else who was injured for those games too. Just saying.
We'll get to United. I want to start off with Arsenal first. Arsenal lost to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge 2-0.
Alphabetical order.
Yeah, alphabetical order. First day of the league, we're in first place. Now the scoreline does not really reflect, I think, the course of play. Arsenal, they didn't get played off the pitch. This was not the, I was okay with it in the sense that Arsenal came to Stamford Bridge, they came to play. Chelsea had their tactics. To me, I guess this is what modern football has come out. It's about winning, right? It's all about winning. It's no longer about playing the game in the way it was meant to be played. It's all about systemic fouling, rotational fouling, hitting, tackling players. That's what the game has come down to. So I guess I have to just accept it and move on. But what I despise hearing is the false equivalency that, the referee was bad for both teams. Yeah, in most cases, I don't even want to talk about the referee because you want to talk about the course of the play and
it's an easy place to point a finger.
Right. But in a game where the difference came on a bit of brilliance from Hazard, which was you can't take anything away from the way he played, the way he drove at the Arsenal defense and earning that penalty, which was 100% deserved, and a counterattack that was essentially catching Arsenal after they were overcommitted because they were trying to get back in the game. And I think they kind of accepted, we'll take the loss in the effort to get a draw. Okay, so you can accept that. So there's very fine margins, right? This game was not heavily favored towards Chelsea. So when you look at it in very fine margins, the referee's decisions were, they were awful. They were awful. Cahill should have been sent off in the 20th minute. Hands down, should have been sent off. And then I hear from the other end of the spectrum, Welbeck should have been sent off. And I agree, Welbeck should have been sent off. But let's not make an equivalency that a sending off in the 20th minute is the same as a sending off in the 91st. Because if Cahill is sent off in the 20th minute, we don't even know if Hazard gets that chance. We don't know. You know what? Because when I look at the team, if Cahill got a red card, Hazard is the guy that Mourinho was likely to pull because he plays the least amount of defense, in my opinion, from Oscar, Cesc, Matic. You would imagine that those three would stay in, and Hazard would get pulled for another center back. Now he's not on the field; he doesn't score that goal, right? It's a hypothetical, but what I'm getting at is it's a false equivalency. Yeah. You know, Cesc Fabregas had a handball in the box; it wasn't called. It's not like Chelsea had a handball in the box that wasn't called. Ivanovic, Oscar, and Cahill were fouling the entire match. Oscar got 5 fouls before his first yellow. 5. Chambers had 1 shirt tug and he had a yellow. So it's unfortunate that it comes down to we're looking at the refs' decisions, but it's fine margins, and it only drives me insane because the game was close, and there's this thing where it's like, well, the ref was bad for everybody. It drives me nuts. It's not. The ref was not the same. It wasn't the same for everybody. And teams are coming out to now just tackle. Just slow them down, just tackle, just slow them down. And then it builds up and it's a snowball leading into the injury crisis, quote unquote. Because when players are getting hit and the referee is not doing his job in protecting players, they're going to get injured. That's where I'm at. I sound like sour grapes, but I've been sitting on that for 2 weeks, so I wanted to get it off my chest.
No, I agree with you. A red card in the 24th is a lot heavier than one in the 90th.
Well, it has an impact on the game. It has a real impact on the game. And listen, I'm not making any excuses. Welbeck should have got a red card. That was a harsh, stupid challenge. But no less harsh or stupid than Cahill's. So, you're one of your probably, I guess I would say, probably your only Arsenal man that you really like. I mean, that you would go out of your way to say, oh man, he's really special. Ozil.
Oh yeah, I've been watching him since he was at Bremen.
He's been under a heavy load of criticism.
Yeah, it's I think it's unjust. I mean, the guy. You have to be realistic. Not only he played in almost every game in the World Cup, which is a very good excuse, especially when you won one. You'd like to bring that experience back to your team, and you would think that they would have a bit more of a acceptance and open mind, and to understand that the position that the guy plays, they didn't bring a striker, a goal scorer. They brought in a playmaker, a dynamic playmaker. Mm-hmm. You can't hold him to the fire because he's not ripping in goals left and right and making Cesc Fabregas passes. He's making Ozil passes, and more importantly, he's making Ozil space. That's what he does best. Right.
I mean, there's a lot of arguments to be made perhaps for where he's being deployed on the field. It's arguments.
And to say he's lazy is obviously you never saw his career. He never, before he came to the EPL or before last season in Real Madrid, really. His last season in Real Madrid, he never played 90 minutes. He always had to be subbed out at the 70th minute, and that was his biggest, besides not being able to finish, that was his biggest flaw up until now. And now he is playing 90 minutes.
Right. But I don't think, I mean, people make grapes about his body language and his, he's an introvert. That's just the way he is. I think people are reading way too much into it. And then, the goddamn rags saying that he put in a transfer request during the international break. I'm like, how bored are you guys? You have nothing to talk about, right? So,
did you see his house? People don't make houses like that and just leave.
What drives me nuts is Bayern Munich wants Ozil. Ozil wants to go to Bayern Munich, but the week before, Ozil is shit. Make up your mind. Either Bayern Munich wants him, and they obviously want him because he's good. Because Bayern Munich isn't in the business of collecting bad players, obviously. Or he's garbage, and he wants to stay at Arsenal because that's where he belongs, blah, blah, blah. You guys, the media is just... It's so frustrating. And the worst part is, the fan base is so it's so easily jilted by that because it's so constant, and like it's just clickbait. It's just clickbait. And then like everyone gets riled up, and it's like this. It's a domino. It's a vicious cycle that can't be broken. It's unfortunately.
And it's easy to do when somebody's drowning to push them down. And
it's easy when somebody's down.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's much harder.
Nobody's doing it to Chelsea right now.
Right. City's not getting pulled down. Chelsea's not getting pulled down.
There's no Nasri stories right now, or Yaya Toure cakes.
Not right now. But I agree. I think. I think I've talked ad nauseum on other podcasts about what Ozil can do and can't do. We'll see. The next stretch of games for Arsenal will be without Ozil.
Yeah.
3 months, basically till the new year. No Giroud, no Debuchy. Ramsey is still a few weeks out. Arteta's still a few weeks out. Gnabry came back. Walcott's probably a 1 month away.
Is Koscielny good though?
Koscielny, the French doctors. I mean, I was listening to. I'm going to give a lot of credit here because this is not me. I was listening to a podcast called the Bergkamp Wonderland. It's an Arsenal podcast. If you're an Arsenal fan and you don't listen to them already, check them out. But they were talking. They had an injury podcast, and they were talking about Koscielny's injuries, and he's got chronic Achilles. What is it called? Tendonitis of the Achilles. He's had this. Now, tendonitis is pain. It's not necessarily an inflammation. It's not necessarily damage. It's like this chronic inflammation that he can't get rid of.
It's like a tweak.
So what I've learned, and I'm taking this, of course, from this other podcast because I didn't do my research because I listened to it maybe like 3 hours ago. But so what I've learned is that a team can't refuse to send a player on international duty. So what ends up happening is Arsenal, same thing with Ozil and same thing with Koscielny. They buzz their the international, the French doctors or the German doctors, and they say, hey, by the way, Ozil picked up a knock during Chelsea. Can you do us a favor because we can't say stay home? Can you run an MRI on his knee? Same thing with Koscielny. They buzzed them and they said, listen, his Achilles have been flaring up. Just letting you know. We can't tell him not to go. We're letting you know his Achilles are flaring up. So the papers, they're like, oh, chronic tendonitis in both ankles.
Jumping on it.
They're just
it's international break.
It's international break. There's nothing to talk about.
The transfer window's closed.
Will he miss some matches? I'm sure he will miss some matches. It's gonna happen. Is he broken down? No.
I think you're good. In other news, Manchester United are in the top 4. Some said it would never happen.
Okay, listen. Let's just look at the table real quickly, though.
Oh, it's very tight.
Okay, they're top 4 on 11 points.
The rest of the top half are within a point.
Yes. So it's 1 point, and
over there, it's symbolic.
I'm not okay. I'll give you that. That is symbolic, but they haven't played any of their potential top 4 rivals.
But it's not over. No,
but then you look at Chelsea, City, and Arsenal have already played each other. Arsenal, I think, hasn't played City yet, but they played Chelsea at least. Chelsea and City played each other. Chelsea played Arsenal. So there's.
If we would have won that Leicester game, we'd be tied with City right now.
Yeah, but you didn't.
Couldas, wouldas, and shouldas. What are you going to do?
Let's talk about this last match against Everton.
It was a squeaker.
It was exactly the same thing that we've kind of been talking about. It's going forward. They look very good. They look pretty dangerous. But the defense is letting this Manchester United team down. And if it wasn't for David De Gea,
Sant David.
If it wasn't for him, this match would not be what it is.
He's going to be the new Spanish number 1.
Well, he's playing like he is. He's playing much better than Iker.
And Ferrari in the front, Fiat in the back is the popular comparison.
It holds up, man. It holds up.
That Paddy McNair again had a good little match. Di Maria, sensational. I didn't really realize his effect that he would have on the game. He just finds wherever he wants to go and goes there. And his miss kick / cross pass, whatever your power driven pass to Falcao.
It was a shot. Yeah. That's you get the benefit of a player is that when it goes in, they can say whatever they want.
We disagree. The Falcao getting a goal, the way he reacted, that was very, very refreshing. And Herrera should be coming back. I'm very excited to see.
I think Herrera adds maybe a difference on what's going on with the defense as well.
His ability to transition from that back to front, and without committing Blind or committing Rojo, because they like to go forward, and they do very well. Same thing with Rafael. They do very well going forward. It's just leaving an experienced person behind to cover.
I'm going to be very honest with you, man. I think, man, you look at these players up front, and it looks very good. But I feel like they kind of almost feel a little. Sometimes they get ahead in the game, or they're doing okay, and they kind of go like, all right, cruise control a little bit, and the defense is not ready for cruise control, and
they need the intensity to stay on their toes.
I don't know, how are they going to fare against better opposition? Everton has been the toughest team, and Everton really, from an Everton perspective, they're really unlucky to not have drawn that game.
Yeah, but I still didn't realize that Lukaku was in the game until I saw the score sheet at the end of the game.
That's fine. That's fine. There was a saved penalty. That doesn't happen all the time. That sucks for the shooter. But Everton wasn't bad on the day.
No, it was a great game to watch.
You know what? I'll say that Everton's biggest mistake was letting that Di Maria pass get into Falcone and went through like 7 defenders.
That was awesome.
Whatever that was from Di Maria's foot, got through like 7 defenders.
Di Maria's doodad pass.
Yeah, whatever that was.
Shot
so,
pass.
Shass.
We'll call it a shass.
I really feel that in this case, Everton is probably looking at like, man, we dropped points on this one. We could have stole a point off of United.
They're one slot ahead of the relegation zone now.
I know. This is
the edge of the bubble.
This is the one thing that scares me about Martinez.
Plays with fire.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times people always always like say, well, who would be a pretty decent replacement that has Premier League experience for Arsene Wenger in 3 years when his contract is up? Martinez. But Martinez also sunk Wigan. I'm not saying that he didn't have a lot of financial restrictions. He had trouble with Wigan. He had tough. But in Everton, he also has financial issues as well. Yep. But he dumped a lot of money in Lukaku. And I feel like Lukaku's the kind of guy that only plays well when he's got a fire under his feet. I almost feel like Lukaku's like going home and putting his feet up on his, whatever he's making a week couch. A couch of a guy that makes, 5-6 figures a week. That kind of couch, he's putting his feet up and he's going, I got this kind of couch now.
It's a nice couch.
I think when he had that chip on his shoulder, like, I'm going to show Chelsea what they did. They sent me on loan. I'm going to show them. And I think once he got his deal, I don't know. I don't know.
Check cleared.
A little bit of that. All right, I'm going to coast till it's a contract year kind of thing.
Fair enough.
But but that's the thing that's the thing that bothers me about Martinez is like the decision making there. Can he not read the personnel? Did he not know enough to know that, hey, maybe Lukaku isn't the right guy for me? But United is in a good spot. I'm happy for you, but
I could sleep a little better.
Again, we'll talk Boxing Day.
Yeah, there's plenty of season left. I'm not. I don't think it's done yet. So moving on to this coming weekend. No.
Yeah,
there wasn't really. You want to talk about Liverpool?
we could talk about Liverpool. We could talk about their woes.
I'll never get that 5 seconds back in my life.
No, well, actually, you sent me a little note. You said let's talk about Costa getting his getting the golden boot already. You've already assigned the golden boot to him.
If he doesn't get injured, I don't see how he couldn't.
At this pace, he's on a 48/49 goal season. That's pretty impressive. But he won't do it. He's going to get hurt, or he's going to get a red card because he should have already been sent off twice, I believe.
Or do you think they'll save him for Champions League stuff?
Or they're going to rotate. What I'm really interested in with this Chelsea team is, could Remy be producing as well as Costa? In essence, not because, okay, not to take anything away from Diego Costa. I think he's got a nice set of skills. He's got a certain tenacity. He's pretty good on the ball. Same thing for Loic Remy. I think he's also got a certain set of skills, different than Costa, also pretty decent on the ball. But I really do believe that the real difference to this Chelsea team, and the primary reason why the goals are being scored, is because of Cesc Fabregas.
That's what I was.
So what I want to see, that's why I want to see if Loic Remy goes in there and he becomes a goal machine, because he's not historically a goal machine.
So
he's a goal scorer. He's a good striker, but he's not a 9 goals in 7 games kind of guy.
He's not having to put it on a plate.
And you know who else isn't a 9 goals in 7 games kind of guy? Diego Costa. He's not. That's not. He didn't put it. He had hot and cold periods for Atletico. And listen, again, the guy's only had 1 full season at Atletico Madrid. Before that, he did maybe half a season in Madrid, and before that, he was at 3 or 4 different clubs, and nobody even knew who the hell he was, unless you were a La Liga guy. So, let's not. I think there's a lot to be said about what Fabregas brings to the team. I think also a guy that gets acclaim, but I think people forget a lot. I think Hazard is very important to how well this Chelsea team is performing.
Absolutely.
He's been the best Hazard we've seen to date.
He's reaching another level right now, and I think that's why Costa, as long as he stays healthy, which is obviously the first thing you say about anybody that's going for a Golden Boot season, because those players are playing around him, Cesc Fabregas to supply, pass into space, Hazard to make the space with Oscar or Willen, whoever's playing next to him. I can't see anybody on any other team right now that could even come close to the way that their productivity is. Not to mention the fact that they're already figured out in their cruise control speed at the first game of the season. Do you know what I mean? It's scary the way they how fast
it's scary, but it's also very good it's very good for everybody else, because look back at all the seasons. Has there ever been a team that a guy? I was going to say a guy. Ever been a guy that run away with the league? Ever been a team that from September on has run away with the league?
No, but it's
you start to see the runaway in the spring. That's where teams we have seen historically teams run away with
February.
The league. Early spring, we start to see oh man, no one's going to catch United this year. God damn it!
But I think this team is deep enough.
I don't think they're that deep.
No.
In the midfield, perhaps. On defense, name another center back.
Besides Cahill and Terry?
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't, because it's a young guy. It's like a 19-year-old kid. I forgot. I've looked it up in the past. They have an injury to one of those guys, and you're going to see a youth player in there. They're not that deep. What about in the striker position? Okay, you got Remy. Costa gets a red card. Remy's injured. Remy's heart murmur comes into play.
He has a murmur?
He's got some sort of condition, I believe.
So you think one injury they're done?
I think an injury to a striker, 1 or 2. Listen, Chelsea is the healthiest team in the Premier League.
That trainer,
she's magic,
good.
Right?
She's good.
There's something that's so sexist. It's so sexist, Dave. The politically correct team is coming in right now to correct you.
What? I said she's great with her hands.
I'm sure.
She's hands-on.
I'm sure every time people go down at Stamford Bridge just to see if the Chelsea team will come out to help them.
I would twist my ankle on the bottom step. Just say, please. I need the magic spray.
Wasn't there a trainer, one of the English trainers, break his ankle at the World Cup?
I did not know that.
Somebody did, celebrating. I think it was the English trainer. But maybe
what were they celebrating for?
They scored a goal. Scored a goal. No, but no, Chelsea has been one of the healthiest teams, and maybe, bless them for having good luck and a good medical team and good physios and whatever they got over there, going on over there is good, is working. But that doesn't mean that they can't get hurt.
No.
So it's still very early. It's 7 games in. We're not even a third of the way through.
Well, if I had to pick the end of the season, I'm going with Costa.
For golden goal and Chelsea winning the league right now.
As at today, to pick the top team, yeah, but I think No, I still think Manchester United is going to win the league.
Okay. And you said it with a straight face. Holy shit.
Costa's going to win the Golden Boot.
He's just going to lose every match 4-3. Because that's happened. Because Chelsea has lost matches this year.
Well, it only is going to take one injury. And they're going to get one.
They're going to get one, man. I'm telling you, John
Terry's
Terry...
going to blow his back out. Well, somebody's blowing his back out.
Yeah, he's gonna throw his back out while he's on top of somebody's wife.
Exactly.
So that's what I think about Chelsea. I mean,
fair enough. Who will be playing
this weekend? Oh, we're going this weekend. City Tottenham. This would be a nice time for Tottenham to do something for everybody else.
Yeah, come on, guys, and Crystal Palace for that matter.
Oh my God, that would be epic. That would be. Palace is starting to. If Palace does this, then I would now put them as the club that can knock title hopes out.
And Southampton, Sunderland, the two teams that confuse me most whenever I think about them in my head.
It's because they both have like a red variation,
and their S's are long.
Yeah, but they're like completely different parts of England.
Yeah, I know, but it's still as a person who's never
never
looked at a detailed map of England.
I don't know where these clubs are from. They're just from that place over there.
It's like someone from England saying, "No, Kansas and Illinois."
Well, I think Southampton is up there in the top of the third, right? Third,
somewhere around those.
Yeah, third.
Those areas.
So yeah. I mean, Sunderland is always it's at Southampton though, so that's good for them. Sunderland can be tough. They hang in that mid-table. Gus Priot, I like what he's done there. It's not
nice sustainability.
It's not perfect. It's not great, but it's different. It's not necessarily the Orcs of Sunderland anymore. It is because they still got remnants. Shawcross still plays there, but
they're one Craig Bellamy away from Mordor.
What else we got here?
In Milner, you got the Tower of Sauron right there.
The Tower of Sour.
QPR Liverpool on Sunday morning, Stoke and Swansea.
I think Everton Aston Villa the Saturday. Everton Aston Villa I think will be an interesting match.
10:00 game. I agree.
I think that'll be a good match. I think
Monday we got a Manchester United and West Brom.
Don't sleep on West Brom. They can be dangerous. Liverpool struggled with them last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever the hell it was. I mean, they won. Liverpool won 2-1, but I remember watching that match and going, West Brom's going at them. They were going at them. They were having a good time with them. So and West Brom, the Baggies, they have a soft spot in my heart. I don't know why. It's a smaller club, but a very dedicated fan base. Has managed to stay up in the Premier League.
Respect.
And I think, unfortunately, the people that make the decisions over there, I'm not so sure some of the decisions they make. But I think he's a young guy, Berarino, their striker. I think he's going to make a shot. He's going to get a job, an international job with England soon. I think he's going to get called up. I don't know was he called up recently? I don't know if he was called up or not.
I'd be lying if I told you.
Whatever. But he's a young guy. He's making a good point.
And yeah, no, I agree with you.
Sort
of critter.
We are in the cellar right now, and we just saw some sort of creepy crawler.
Critter from Mordor.
Creepy crawler. You said Mordor, and they opened the gates of hell opened up, and they came crawling through. It was like a centipede. It was like one of those.
Scared. My butt just took a chunk out of the seat.
The dwellers.
Shit out of me.
One of the cellar dwellers. I think that's. I mean, I think this is the week where you look at all the. You look at underdogs looking to take some points off the big boys.
Yeah, it seems like one of those punching bag kind of weekends. It looks like the schedule is set for.
It's possible. It's possible. I mean, Arsenal, Hull, City, Tottenham, Crystal Palace, Chelsea, QPR, Liverpool, West Brom, Man United. There's a lot of top bottom, or middle top. Interesting matches. But these are the weeks that are always where you think like, oh, it's going to be like one of those weekends where like
happens.
everybody wins. You know, everybody that you think is going to win, and it's going to be like Burnley 4. You know, well, Burnley West Ham. Actually, that's another interesting one too. They're all good. They all have their own storylines. It's hard to sometimes to say don't bother watching that one because you never really know.
QPR start fighting, staying up, making a run. They're the most unorganized ragtag. It's like the Replacements. They just put a bunch of random folk together.
Led by a philosophical Joey Barton. Have you seen his Twitter? His Twitter is so interesting because it's half intellectualism and half just straight up asshole.
It's a contrast.
He's so contrarian. He contrasts himself.
I would just real quick before we wrap up, I'd just like to make a public service announcement. Can we stop referring to young potential superstars as the next Messi before they've even yet to step on a field?
I read an article the other day, some kid from Norway, the next Messi.
From Norway? Really? That happens. There's two guys from Scotland, too, Ryan Gauld and Jack Harper, the next Messis. Come on.
They're plural, too. They're going to share the spotlight.
Yeah, there's two of them. There's only one Messi ever been in the history of the world, but now there's two of them out of Scotland. It's just getting absurd. Too much pressure, too young, it's ridiculous. Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest.
That's like the modern football, right? So it's like everything is just so. It's like everything else. It's amplified. It's so amplified. It's so now. There's no time anymore for anyone to build and develop. It's just
no vision.
Everyone needs to be the best right now, and if you're not the best right now, you'll never be it. Forget it.
Forever. Not even if there's a fire.
That's it, man. That's it.
It's a short session.
We're keeping it toy like a toiga.
All right, folks. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Soccer Yanks, and I am at Soccer Yank Dave.
And I am Soccer Yank Dan. And if you can't spell that, get a dictionary.
Yeah. And if you want to write or have any comments, concerns, or
concerns, yes. If you're very concerned for our health.
Or concerns. If you notice that I'm breathing heavier and heavier each week, maybe I have apnea or something, please let me know.
You know, if you think that we don't talk enough about your team, tell us, and then we will break them down next week.
Why are we wrong?
Why are we wrong?
Tell us why we're wrong.
I guess where you can tell us is at socceryanks@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us. You can always tweet at us.
All right. Thanks, folks. Have a good one.
Socceryanks.com.
Do it.